Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another beautiful episode on the Speaker Show. Once again, I want to say a very big thank you to each and everyone who have been very dedicated to like watching the show all the time. And I am very grateful. Honestly, guys, I'm very, very grateful. So I just want to say thank you very, very much. So tonight, oh my goodness, it's gonna be a very powerhouse. I'm telling you, it's gonna be very exciting, and then you guys just sit back. But one thing I always tell you that you guys know about me, I always tell you, come prepared, get ready. You know, somebody's story is definitely going to change your life, can change your life one way or the other. So don't just come and be entertained. Come that, yes, I want something to impact my life today. So, and then also, like I always said, like, it might not be for you today, but it might be for someone that you know that is going through that one way or the other. So get yourself ready, settle in, relax, and let us have a very good time. So, all right. So this evening, I'm just gonna quickly talk a little brief, like to us, but you know, like we all know, we've seen the flyer. We have an amazing person coming in. Honestly, I am super excited for her because our energy is superb. Honestly, our energy is one of a kind, and I can't wait. Like, I'm excited. I can't wait to bring her in. But before that, I want to tell you something. You know, whatsoever that you're going through right now in your life, I want you to understand one thing, that it's okay. You're not the only one in that show. You're not the only one there. But I want you to always remember, the reason why you got into what you're doing right now. Always remember what is coming ahead for you. So that way you can be able to stay strong. Don't let any negativities to, like, discourage you. Take your dream. Don't let somebody else steal your dream away from you. You got to hold on to your dream. You got to hold on to whatever you think you want to do for yourself. Nobody's going to live the life for you. It's only you who can make your reality come true. So you are the only one who can fight for it. So don't let people out there, people with negative energy, don't let them steal and give a different opinion. And another thing that I want to share with you, like I've always said, I am a very, 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 like, I'm very particular about the people that you keep in your shadow. You need to keep the right people, because if you don't, oh my goodness, one is going to be messed up, because they are going to let you live in their own life, and that life is not even for you, because they are not even living it well. So without further ado, like, we're always going to have something to talk about, but today is about our special guest. So I just want to bring in our special guest, the one and only, the CEO. When I mean the CEO of Anike's Kitchen. All right, let's have her in. Wow,
Oh
wow,
my God,
wow.
your smile is so contagious. I was
Oh,
just smiling all through.
oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
nice.
How you doing this evening?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing amazing. It's been a long day, but I've been looking forward to this life. So, yes, I am doing amazing. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's a
Oh, that's good.
stressful day, but it's okay. We got to keep strong. We got to keep going, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can't
That's
let
true.
one negative day, like, or one negative scenario, to outshadow, like, the great things that we can still do at the end of the day. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we have to stay positive, and that's why we're here today. So I want to say thank you so much. I know it's like a little bit late over there as well. So, but like, thank you for still, like, you're like, "Ah, let's just do it. Let's go for
Let's do it,
it."
girl. There's no other way.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. So I would just let you share a little bit about yourself, like share a little bit about yourself to us this evening.
So, hello everyone. My name is Kumbi Veronica Olalire. I'm popularly known in the Canadian environment, Canadian streets, as Anyike, and most people also know me as Chef Kumbi. I'm a single mom with two wonderful children, a boy and a girl. as well as a family counselor. I'm a coach. I'm a TV host, an award-winning at Anika's Kitchen, which is the restaurant here in Calgary. And also, I think when I have to share about myself, I always get to talk about Anika's Kitchen too, because that's where I started to gain that prospect. So, Anita's Kitchen is a restaurant here in Calgary with a mission to foster harmonies in homes. It's been 4 years now. We've been committed to providing delicious and freshly prepared Nigerian delicacy to busy families so that families can have time to focus with themselves, spend more time with each other while having quality meal time in order for them to create beautiful memories filled with laughter, and joy and love. I'm also a founder of a social enterprise called Open Kitchen YYC. So social enterprise is something like a non-for-profit, but it is for profit, through which I coach immigrant food and beverage mini business owners by providing knowledge hub to help them generate assets, build their business, and strengthen the community. I'm currently also a host of my own reality cooking show called Anike's Cooking Show. It's on kids learning channels and community connection on Tellus Optic TV. So Tellus Optic TV is like if you're in Ontario, you would be looking at it as Rogers. It's like, Rogers is like that TV station that is well known. In Alberta, Telus Optic TV is well known. And you can also find it on YouTube, where we have multiple seasons on daddy's and mommy's recipe with parents cooking with their children and just building bonds. It's always about building the family, raising the better generation. And because we understand that it is not only about food, uh, it's also about spending time together, learning skills, and raising healthy children. Yeah. So that is just a glimpse, just a bit. As we go on, I shall be sharing more details about me.
Wow, wow, wow. Oh my goodness. You have got your hand in multiple things.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh
My
my,
hands are
oh
full.
my, oh my. Wow, 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 wow. I love that. The most beautiful thing that I love out of everything that you've talked about is the fact that, like, you are not limited. And that's what I love about you. Like, you set your goal high and then you aim towards achieving them. And that's the most beautiful thing that I admire from far away. You know how many flights it's gonna take me to get how many hours flight it's gonna take me to get to Albert.
It will to take you long, at least 5 hours, and
Well,
two, three
trust
days
me, trust
drive.
me. But
Yeah,
still, like,
thank
from
you.
far away, I'm like, you are doing amazing.
Thank
You are
you.
doing amazing. But you know what? Let's talk a little bit deep, because I know there's so many things that you do. But what drives those, like, those activities that you do, like, like trying to like create something? What drives those things? Let's really get into that and knowing you more and more.
Yeah, I think for me, it has always been I was this little girl from a family of 12. I had 11 siblings with my parents, making it about 15, all of us together. And I was the number 9, so I was very almost voiceless. Sorry, I was the 10th and I was voiceless. And that means, what can I say when when people are talking? um but I always had a very strong tie to children. I'm a very children person. I love kids, I love animals. Quickly I connect easily with children and animals. But so it has always filled this gap and this space for me to be in a family scene. Like becoming a single mom was one of the most unexpected thing in my entire life due to how much I adored family. I love family. I love growth, especially when it comes to family, because, as I'm a Christian, and like God put family together for a reason. And
Mhm.
so when you look at the dynamic of things, like where I find myself as a single mom was almost when I started to realize that I needed to do more. And where my more was I already had two kids. I have then I had a 3 year old and a 4 year old, and it was insane. And but I also always have this drive that I am much more. I mean, I moved from Nigeria to Russia when I was 15 years old, and I was there for like 2 years, and then from there I decided, no, this place is not for me. I can barely speak their language. I'm struggling, so I'm going to find somewhere better. For me, it's always been, where is the next better place? Like, I don't want to settle. Like, I'm not, if I don't feel comfortable at it, if I don't like where I'm at, if I don't like the situations around me, which of course it happens to everybody, we would take some time to like process things and then move. But that move is always the end goal for me. And I moved to Canada. So my biggest drive right now, based off like the situations in my hands right now, are my kids. I love my kids so much. And again, it ties all around like family, ties around like raising a better generation of people. It ties on around like raising healthy children that project positivity into the environment, into the people's life that are around them. So it's all about all of that. Everything I do, it's about how can I make a family's life better. And that family starts with me. So yeah, like I have a range of different things that I do. But when you look through what my portfolio looks like, it's always just been nurturing harmonies in homes, whichever way that I can go about it. Yeah, and my children drive me. I mean, it's no other way around it. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I love that a lot. I love that. I love that because I feel that, like, as a woman, and then being passionate in whatever, like, one is doing. I feel that, like, the things that drives one are the most important thing. And I love the way you mentioned that your children are the major reason that, like, like, that
Yeah.
pushes you to just go
True.
do more. And I know we will not talk a little bit much about the single mom like that, but trust me, when I have people that are like, okay, let's see what we can nail about that. So, like,
Yes, and sincerely, like I would love to talk about it because I feel that for me personally, I feel like I had to be a single mom to grow. I feel like I had to be a single mom to achieve what my purpose in life. Like in my language, Yoruba, people they always say that àkọọ́lẹ̀ ni gbogbo nǹkan, so everything is already written. So in life you would be going in a certain direction, but in that same realm your direction will change, and when that direction change it is already written. I love to talk about the single mom part of me because sincerely, if I was never a single mom, I would have like, okay, I'm still a single mom. If I never became a single mom, jokes on me. If I never became a single mom, I wouldn't have learned, I wouldn't have grown in such an amazing way. Like every single time I sit back and think about it, I'm always grateful to God that He puts me in this situation to become a better person so that I can raise healthy children. So I would not be where I am in business. My business is currently making six figure for the past 2 years. I would not be a great coach. I would not be like a amazing mom. I would not be a great friend. I would not even be someone who shows love to myself, because when I was married, I had zero love for myself. I hated myself. I hated everything I was doing. I hated being present with my children. I just I wasn't feeling right. And when you're not feeling right mentally, it all starts mentally, then it becomes a physical sickness. You know what I mean? And then now you're dealing with not only mental health, but then you're dealing with physical health too. I
Mm-hmm.
went through all of that. I had high blood pressure. I was 25 pounds bigger. I was overweight for my height. Um, like almost 3 years after I had my kids. Like, so any normal like moms that are in a good health shape or whatever it is, depending on my kind of body structure. My body structure, I'm small. So most women would bounce back. You know, you can still get your tummy, you know, your pouch, your happy pouch, but you would bounce back. And I wasn't. I was in deep depression. I was literally in deep depression when I was married. And I had to heal. And that's why I just started a new podcast on YouTube called Immigrant Single Motherhood. And this podcast, I've wanted to start it for almost 2 years. Like, but I like somehow the message wasn't coming for me to bring that message out yet. But being a single mom in this country, because most single moms already became single mothers before they literally put it on paper. So
Mm-hmm.
I had seen myself, I've been living in as a single mother for such a long time, for about 3 years in my 7 years of marriage. And that was when I completely realized and understood like this is where I am and I'm stuck here. Right. So if I'm going to talk about anything, if I'm going to talk about my business growth, it starts with being a single mom. Everything is wrapped up around being a single mom. And I talk about my journey, I talk about my healing process. And it's funny because the more I work on myself, the better everything else. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm this person that I would have a really serious to-do list, and I would have my shake first. I'll have my morning shake first. I'll do my exercise first. I would do my prayers. I'll meditate. I would take a walk. And I have a busy, crazy day. Like I would be in the middle of my work and I'll be like, no, I need some space. And I would take some time and I would go. I would up and I'm so grateful I'm in Alberta. Like there is our backyard is a mountain and woods. Like I
I know.
would
Tell me about it.
close my eyes 1 minute, I'm off. Like I'm like anything, like I would close down my business and go. I don't. So and I see a lot of people, a lot of business owners like um and I remember when I would die on top of the business. Like I remember when it was all about just putting in the work and putting in the work and putting in the work and never like it wasn't yielding what I can see now. I see more growth in working on myself, in becoming a better person for myself and the people around me. Like my business is growing, I'm meeting better amazing people who are willing to pour into the growth of my business. So like instead of that constantly or that sinking in, because again being a single mom you can easily just sink in and stay there and just live the everyday. And because at the end of the day, when you're not happy, your children are not going to be happy. You're going
Absolutely.
to raise unhealthy, sad children. And at the end of the day, like we always want your Bible will say your night to be good. You know, you want, and when your kids are grown, you want peace of mind. So then what gives you peace of mind when your kids are grown is what you invest in. Like nothing comes to you just freely. It doesn't come to you just leaving everything to what it is and then expecting that gloriously some magic will just successfully pluck amazing children for you or pluck amazing business or your career will just grow or you know what I mean, or your life will just be fantastic, or somehow 30 pounds will just drop from your body without you putting on the work.
Mhm.
Everything in life is work. You have to put
Yes.
in the work.
Yes, yes. Actually, you're very right about that because whatever you decide to do, whatever anyone wants to do, like the work is very, very important. You need to be hardworking. Like you need to put in your best.
Mhm.
I remember the other day I was sharing on the show right here, and then I was like, I met a lady. She sews clothes. and then attitude, like it was like, okay, if you don't want to sew, you don't want to sew. Do you understand? So, and I'm like, if you don't put in the work, and at the end of the day, you will sit down there and say it's not working. You will sit
Mm-hmm.
down there and say, oh, you will blame somebody else for the reason why it's not working, and you are the one that doesn't even have the right attitude
Mm-hmm.
towards what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's very, very right. Like, you one needs to put the work into it in order
Mm-hmm.
for like one to be able to achieve from it.
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to ask you, like, because I know you've said so much. I told you guys that this is gonna be a powerhouse. Wow. Okay. So I want to ask you. I know earlier on you talked about, depression and all those things that you went through, like, before you came out. Because one thing I want to tell you is that, there are many people who, okay, let me put it this way. I was sharing earlier on today, and I was like, there are many ladies who are living alone in marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And the men, they there's some men that, like, they put in their idea of illusions of the things that they're not real. They tend to impose it on the woman, and then the
Mm-hmm.
woman live on the average lifestyle, and then
Mm-hmm.
being fearful to, like, okay, say I want to go, and then rather
Mm-hmm.
they shrink them and then make them leave, you
Mm-hmm.
know under them. So, but for you, like, how how did you
How did I run? How did I get myself out of
I like
mess?
the way you put the words in my mouth back. Yes, how did you run?
I think it was is the hardest thing to do. Like I remember that was like um about 5 years ago at the end of 2018, and I know it was such a huge decision for me. Like I had friends who knew what was going on, but they were not no one is going to advise you, you know what I mean, to go. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going
Absolutely.
to help you. You have to come to that realization that it was time. and and for me, like I feel like I had my triggers, and I do journal now more than I used to before. But as in going to University of Windsor, like I did political science and humanitarian studies. So I did a little bit of research. You know what I mean? Like, so with research comes a little bit of writing. With writing, um so over time I had known that I could just write out my thoughts, and I had to sit down and think about, like, what do I really want, which was very hard then, which is really really hard. Like for me it was, I don't know about any other person. And I had to take time every single time and write, what do I want from a marriage. So when I came to that realization and I listed out what I wanted and I did not see it, it did not seem like it felt like I was in a hole. Also, I was like, if all of and I haven't written now, I can write a book. Like I can sit down and someone asks me how was your day, and I start writing. But then I didn't have much to write. But even as I didn't have much to write, I had key points, and those key points were not there. So that kind of started making me worry about, okay, what can I do? I don't want my marriage to end. So what can I do to make these things work? So I did everything. Like I went through counseling, I went through like church counseling, I went through regular counseling, I did every I was the marriage junkie. I was one of those people that be like, hey, I'll carry my marriage in my head for life. I will die. I will I will get to come. What is this? It did not work. It did not work. None of that worked. And And so trying all of that made me realize that, you know what, and there were key things that triggered me in the marriage, that made me come to that final realization. Because the best thing that ever happened to my family was me leaving the marriage. Like after I left, they felt like, oh God, like my parents went to do Thanksgiving, like my family was in joy, because it felt like I was in that bondage. I was just there pretending. You know, it's kind of pretend that you post pictures and act like everything is fine. It's a lie. It was up, like I was living a false lie. I was living life like I was living in my imagination. And so many women are in that place, because at the end of the day, you have to come to that realization that, am I living in my imagination, or is this actually happening? And if it's not, try to find solution. And if you try to find solution and you don't, and the solution is not working, then I think the ball is in your court for you to decide if you're going to stay there and continue to, because whatever you feel in your head, if you feel at peace, if you feel if you feel joy, like I mean, like if you have happiness, I'm not even talking about money, because money is never the problem. Like
Mhm.
once you're here, you put in your work, you do, it's not the problem. But coming home and feeling loved and feeling adored, appreciated, and feeling like, and just being happy, being at peace that you're in your home, feeling like there is somebody there for you, it's just a different case entirely. So for me, that wasn't there. And so all of those things, and then I was gonna start my business, and there were just the negative connection around. Nope, you're not starting this business. If that's what it is, then so that was it for me. I was like, I came all the way from Russia by myself to Canada. You cannot blame me. Like my story in Russia is completely another different story for another different day. Like I I went through like I was homeless. I slept on the train station for a long time, and I was like, I was in front of Canadian embassy in Moscow for like almost 5 days in the freaking cold. Then I'll now come to Canada, and then I will now want to utilize my God-given talent, and I will now be deprived from it. So there were just so many things that gave me that instant trigger that made me know. So I think it would come. It would take time. It took me 7 years to realize that I was in a garbage. I was
Mhm.
literally inside the garbage, and more garbage was being poured on my garbage. And I just kept packaging it and making it look sweet. Like packing all the, you know, when you're inside garbage, you're not packing all the garbage inside small, small nylon bag. Yeah, God. So like I was just putting them small, small in different, which at the end of the day, you know, it's just coming to that realization and just trusting yourself and knowing for yourself that like you have to choose you. You have to
Mhm.
choose you. Like you cannot, no, you can't put any other person ahead. You can't even put your children ahead of you. If I am not in a good space, my children cannot be in a good space. So if you're
Absolutely.
going to pour that cup to fill up each and everyone's bottle, yours has to be overpouring. The water
Mhm.
in your cup, it can't be half full, it can't be half empty. That's the way I live my life. I have to be full and be pouring. So if I'm full and pouring, then I can distribute around. And if I distribute around, I still end up with at half full, because there's still more than your half full or half empty, whichever one you choose, and then you distribute around, you end up empty. So I think that's the most important thing, when you just really think about you and you work on yourself and you just choose yourself, and somehow, like whatever faith you believe in, whatever um higher power that you believe in, um God somehow makes a way, especially when you put it in his hands. It always makes it easy for you to make that decision at the right time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Sure.
Actually, it is true because I always say this as well. And but first of all, even before I said, I want to tell you that I admire the level, and I could imagine what you were then and to what you are right now. But I'll tell you that I admire the confidence that's in you, like, I do admire that because I can see that. So maybe I'm not supposed to sit on a live show, but
Oh no, absolutely. Of course. Like, because you have to get to a certain point. I wasn't like this when I left my marriage. I didn't have this confidence. I had low self-esteem. I had low self-esteem from Windsor. I had low self-esteem as long as I could ever know. Like, I didn't even know that there was a word low self-esteem. It was until I had a friend in University of Windsor that said it, and kind of people that she was one of those kind of people that it wasn't as if she even said it in a pleasant way. Like, call me behind and say, I'm going behind and say, you have a low self-esteem. No, she really taught me. So I like so that, and when people do things like that, you think it's an insult. You actually don't see it as a problem. You see it as an insult. And instead of you trying to tackle it and work with it, that's why it's always good to surround yourself with the right people. Because again,
absolutely.
you can pass the same message in a welcoming way, in a loving way that would actually make that person's life grow for the better. That would actually make, in fact, you can, if I'm gonna pass a message to tell someone they have low self-esteem, I will be buying a book that would help them with their self-esteem
Mm-hmm.
in that conversation. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I would be showing that I care. And it's not just that I'm telling you there's a problem. I am here for you to show you the solution for you to get out of this problem. That's how
Mm-hmm.
people know that truly there's something wrong with me. That's why they go home and start thinking about it, that is this thing real? You know? And then it doesn't come off as an insult anymore. It comes off as they truly genuinely care and love you.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, like, I've moved from like the confident level, the I don't, it's not even it's not even to be bargained with from whatever age and that's why I started this conversation with me being the 10th child of my parents. So you could just imagine, I didn't have anyone to play with. I didn't have any, I looked up to people, but I was looking up, but I wasn't really hearing anything. I didn't have anyone sitting me down and saying, there was no there was no one to say I was looking after. You know how you just have like you and your sister, and like,
Mm-hmm.
and then both of you kind of like exchange conversations, or like you and your small siblings. So it was like a whole lot of plenty people. And with
Mm-hmm.
cousins and family friends and so many other people. So I literally felt like I was living alone as a child. So it's just normal for a child that grew up in that environment to have a low self-esteem, because to talk was going to be a very shy. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
my low self-esteem affected my education. It affected how much I thought I could achieve in anything that I was doing, up until I got divorced. Oh no, not divorced. Up until I got separated. So I it's just, yeah, it has just been a part, and I feel that that's one of those things that happen to people. Oh please, absolutely, I'll take that.
Great. 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 Okay. So I'm assuming that you're not divorced yet, right?
So hey, god of divorce, come to my head. It has been a journey of a lifetime, sincerely. Getting divorced in Canada is one of the hardest thing ever. My battery is about to die. Let me just grab my laptop charger. 1 second, please.
No problem. No problem. All right, guys. So while we're waiting, I hope you guys are picking one thing in the order. So let's just get, just open your mind and then see, like, there will be people, if it's not you, that is going through one thing or the other. And this can be a very great thing that, that they have access to that can help them. So she's back. We're going to
Yes.
continue.
Share it. Share it with anyone that you know that is a single parent. Doesn't matter. Men, women, we all go through stuff, and you never know who would be impacted and how much life you can actually save. Like, single parents commit suicide because they just can't deal with it. Like, there's a very huge rate of it going around, especially in Canada, because we can't. in compared to if you're back in Nigeria, you have like human resources. Like here you have people resources back home, but here you have like zero resources. Like it's all you, and you have to carry all of that load by yourself. And then thinking
Mhm.
about being an immigrant single parent too is another different ball game entirely. Understanding how to navigate the situation. So your question, no, I am not divorced yet. We've been in the process and we're still on the process. As I said, God of divorce, let us end it already. But yeah, it does take time, but separation takes pretty quick. The moment you submit your application, you're good to go. The government does give you that 1 year or two, I think 2 years or 1 year before you can start processing your divorce. And man, I've been in this for 5 years now. We are still cutting it. We are still going to cut back and forth. So yeah, because you will do custody, especially if you have kids. So they'll want to know where would the kids stay, what all of those long, 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 long things. My advice in this conversation right now, right here, is that just be very one of the most important thing and the biggest thing to be sure about in life to be successful is choosing the right partner. Once you have the right partner, you have the world. Literally, you're a force. It's literally impossible for you to fail if you have the right person by your side.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. I'm enjoying you since. So there's another thing that you mentioned earlier, and then you talked about how, like, you began to like find truly who you are as a person, as an individual, and then, after the marriage. So I know you only brief about that, but if you can elaborate more on that. So how, like, you begin to discover yourself, and then all the things that you're doing right now, I believe they must have come after the marriage, right? So because there are a lot of single mom out there that wants to do a lot of things, who wants to do tremendous things, but at the end of the day, one thing or the other is limiting them, and like you said, they end up being shrinked, and they don't rise as high as that. And then I love the fact that, like, despite everything, despite your challenges, so many things that that has happened, that you've been through, you were still able to, like, say, I want to do something for myself. So I just want you to elaborate more, to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, so it's in fact it will not end, but I will still put points on it. But if I go into deep into that, will not end. But for anyone that is interested, before I start sharing, if you want to know more, hear more, especially how I navigated healing and how I because it's a different thing to know what you're doing, and then it's a different thing to practice what you're doing, and it's not a different thing to continue to follow up with what you're doing, right? So anyone that is interested, that wants to know a little bit more about like understanding how to, when we talk about discussing challenges you face as a single parent, and also like how it would impact your children, or how it impacts you emotionally, or how you can heal to grow to what you want to do, then you should check out my YouTube page. It's called Immigrant Single Parenthood. So yes, so I'm sure Nini would help us drop that down in the
Yes, we would.
description section.
Yes.
But one of the things, as I navigated the challenging part of healing, I discovered that there were some powerful tools and practices that made significant differences in my life. And those practices, one of it for me was my spiritual journey, which was a crucial part to my healing process. Like you just left something that you thought was your everything. And as being raised in a Christian home, um, there was just that first disconnection. I first got disconnected and I was just hungry about everybody with everything. With I was so angry, and I eventually realized that spirituality is a deeply personal journey, and I was able to find my way back into my faith, and it was through Bible that I felt that guidance. But I also learned that spirituality is not confined to one specific religion. Through my personal journey, it's about finding the connection to something that is greater than you. So it doesn't even matter what you're serving, because we all have different religion. It could be through prayers, it could be through meditation, or simply just connecting to God. I think that was the first most important thing that I started to connect with, that got me going. And then and then I entered into a place where I was focused on embracing journaling. And journaling started because I started therapy. I mean, like, if you're in this country, if you're in Canada, I'm sure you've heard about therapy. If you're anywhere in the world, I'm sure you've heard about therapy. Writing out my thoughts, my fears, my hopes. And I couldn't afford these things when I was starting off. Like, when I had my kids, like, I had two children. I just quit my job because there was nobody that was going to take care of my kids for me. And I was literally, I didn't even know what I was going to do at that point. But I know that there's therapy, and there's YouTube, and there's Instagram, and there are different avenues that you can learn. You can learn things before you get into a space where you're like, oh, you know what? I think this matter past just listening to other people. It requires me to find the money and invest in myself. So for me, it was about, I was braiding and I was cooking. So I would use food to cater for my family, and I would use braiding to, like, get myself a therapy. Like, because I just, like, I wanted to leave depression. I was constantly in fear. I was in my thoughts. I wanted to gain clarity and understand my emotions better. I didn't understand, so it took me a step forward to, like, rewriting my positive, rewriting my negative thoughts and turning them into positive. So if I'm thinking, um, I'm a very stupid person, then I would write it out, and then I would rewrite it, because your mind does not know if you are just playing or not. Whatever you say to yourself be, manifest into your life. And then I would rewrite it and stick to that positive, and I'll say, I am not stupid. I am only going through so much emotions right now. I love myself, and I can get better, and I will get better. Then I turn that into an affirmation, and then I carry that along. I write down on my screenshot. I write that down. I screenshot it. I change it into my wallpaper on my phone. Those are the little things that I was doing. You know what I mean? That cost me nothing. But because I was doing that, affirmation then became a daily tool for boosting my self esteem and maintaining a positive mindset. And I went into the physical health too, where I knew that I was always constantly just drained and tired and exhausted mentally. Like, except I have to work for money. Every other thing, I'm on the couch and I'm drained and I'm tired. I don't want anybody to talk to me. I don't want anything. I just, so I had to change my diet and start working out regularly. And and as someone that was cooking, I had a love-hate relationship with food. But I realized that my relationship with food needed to evolve at some point. And then I started involving my children into the journey. Like, that's where I started. I was like, okay, you know what, my and kids, having children in this part of the world, you have to engage them. You
Mm-hmm.
can't just be like, I'm depressed. Brah. My partner, bro, I cannot do anything. You have to engage your children, knowing that they are toddlers at that age. They'll come to you, they want to play, they want to. So for me, it was like, like, okay, you know what? Whatever I'm going to stand up and do, you people will join me. That was how I engaged my children. If I'm going to sweep the floor, you people will join me. If I'm going to cook the food, because I cannot do any other extra thing, I'm already exhausted and weak. And so from there, it became a fun time. It became something that we enjoy to do together. So it almost became like that safe space, and my children then started to enjoy to spend that time with me. So, and it kind of just help them with like building value for like also healthy eating and regular exercise. I added them to my regular exercises. When I want to exercise, even if it's just take a walk or do jumping jack, they will join me. We will jumping jack together. We would, if I want to eat anything that is healthy, they will join me and eat that thing that is healthy together. So it was also helping them, and it wasn't just about me alone. And then lastly, I kind of embrace my role as a mompreneur, because when the business was starting, it was very difficult. Like, it was difficult to balance being a mom, being an entrepreneur. So I want to, I shall balance growing my business with with my commitment to my children's well-being. For me, that was the only way it could work. I had to choose my children first, their well-being first. It wasn't easy, but I learned that it's possible to succeed in your career or in your business or in whatever you do while being present for your children. So for me, if my children needs me, my business needs me, I would choose my children. But blink of an eye, I won't even think about it. I'll close it down. I would say,
Yeah,
well, there we are. It's not gonna work.
that's
So I
all.
integrated my children into my business journey, teaching them about entrepreneurship and also the importance of hard work. And when I'm working, like imagine when they were toddlers, oh Lord of hosts. We will carry ourselves on our head. We'll go and do groceries. Carry ourselves on our head. We'll go and cook. Carry ourselves on, like I was carrying them everywhere I go. It was draining. It was draining. So yes, if there is a mom or you know about a mom that has toddlers and you know she's separated or divorced or whatever it is not for the joke. It is not easy at all. Um and yeah, so in sharing all of these insights is so that people would understand that you can still find inspiration and also practice guidance for your own healing journey. It doesn't necessarily need to be you in like I remember like the biggest thing that really helped me was just that writing. Because moment I start thinking about anything, I'll just carry a pen and a book and I will just write them down. And then once I see how horrible it looks, I would rewrite it. I will force myself. And you know, writing is almost like a practice. You have to practice your brain to write. I'll
Mm-hmm.
force myself to rewrite what I'm thinking. And then I could spend the whole day repeating that to myself. Every time I remember, I'll pick it up and read it and repeat it to myself. Anytime I'll pick it up and read it. That cost me nothing. By the time I started therapy, by the time I had the resources, because again, when you look at it, single immigrant parents in Canada do not know that there's actually lots of different resources for them. Example, like you can get a therapy for free here in this country as a single parent, especially single mothers. You can get a lot of things that can support you, support your children in activities, support you in physical well-being activities that would get you from being in a foggy place to like actually becoming what you want. There is nothing. In the beginning of this, we started with there is nothing was going to fall on you except you put in the work. I had to put in the work to lose 25 pounds. And the moment I lost 25 pounds, I felt like, whoa, I could do anything. What wants to come? We will fight it. I was ready for whatever it is was going to come. So I think that was it's always that for me. And then also remembering that healing is a personal journey and what works for me may not work for the other person, but it's also very key and important to be open to explore, you know, different, open your mind, be open-minded. Don't just seal up and say this is what it is and you are not bending and you're not, because I was there and I didn't even understand what I was not bending for. I didn't even understand, it didn't even make any sense, you know. So be open to exploring different avenues and finding and be open to find resources that resonates with you, you know. So that's it for me. And then after that you can now start saying, okay, maybe when you start getting yourself building your business to a place where it start paying you and then you start getting like insurance under your business, then you can say, you know what, I want to get more help. Oh, I want to get a fitness trainer. I want to get um um nutrition coach. Oh, I want to get, and all of these things too, mind you, as a single parent here in Canada, you have access to it up to 70% as a single parent, as long as the kids are living with you. So all of these informations and all these things I share on like the immigrant single parenthood, because for me, I feel that for the first, we've been doing this for 5 years. For the first 3.5 years, I I'm I'm a government baby, like literally. Because for me, I was like, if all I have to do is to survive, and if this resources is already here, readily available for me, so all it takes is for me to get up and do it. We will do it. We die here.
That's good. I
That
love
would
that
be
hustleness. That, you know, I like that. I like that. Okay, so we're gonna be taking questions from our viewers this evening, from the audience. So we're gonna be taking some questions. So first of all, I have a question here that says, I know there are a couple of it, so I have to read through. All right. So there's one here that says, how did your experience of relationship shape your life?
my experience of relationship.
Yes.
Okay, let's rewind back to the fact that I had low self-esteem. I did not have a good experience in relationship. I didn't even understand what relationship was until I got divorced. And even when I got separated, sorry, I keep saying divorce because that's the word that comes first. Um, but as I got separated, I struggled and suffered in the hands of relationships, relationship from friends. When I felt like at about first, after 1.5 years, I was feeling okay. My family was already asking, it's okay now. Don't come and die and kill yourself. Like, go and see if you will find somebody else. Go and try life again. Go and don't give up. It's okay. Blah blah blah. Those things. And yeah, like as of then too, I still didn't understand it. I think for me at this stage that I am right now, relationship is all about yourself. It's yourself, it's your self-worth, it's your self-value, is you. The moment you find yourself in a space where you can fully and genuinely love who you are, relationship starts with you. If you can love yourself genuinely without like, and again, loving yourself is a practice. For those
Mhm.
people that already knows how to love themselves, they still have to continuously do it every day. It's not like I've loved myself, I end it there,
That's it.
that's it. It's
Mhm.
almost like every day you wake up and you see a
Mhm.
new day, you got to
Mhm.
put in the love on yourself. The moment you
Yes.
put in love on yourself, you would not. Is about choosing yourself first. Relationship is about respecting yourself. Relationship is about your personal worth. Relationship is about how you see yourself and value yourself. Everything starts with you.
Yes.
Everything starts with you. And the moment you start seeing yourself that way, you will stop taking unwanted advice from the wrong friends. You start giving space, and you can say all these things. You can listen to them and reply in a very appropriate manner that brings that promotes love, that does not necessarily bring anger or rage or you can still you can be in a relationship with yourself, and you because by that time you know your triggers, and you have your boundaries. Relationship is all about you. It all starts with you. Once you understand your triggers, you understand your boundaries, no one can cross your path. When someone gets to, and that doesn't mean that you're not showing love, it just means that you are choosing to choose yourself. So instead of you cross my boundary and make me feel worthless or make me feel devalued, I would rather just stay on my lane with peace and give you. So I think that's like the first step to building a strong relationship with anybody. It has to come from you first, and then from there it just becomes and then you're thinking about the pouring in the cup, having an overflow of love for yourself. When you have an overflow of love, you would not even think twice before you give. You would not think twice before you before you make sure that everyone around you have something in their cup. But at the same time, you're never going to be empty, because when you see that you're half full or you're half empty, you take a pause and you
Mhm.
give yourself that you time, that me time. When I say I will just run to the mountains, turn off my phone, anything else to happen, it should happen. And I want to born should born. And I want to anything. Everybody will feel right. Like I'll just go off, and it's always about me. Anything I do is always about me. And then when it goes from me, I'm able to give. I'm able to love. I'm able to support. I'm able to be a good person to everyone around me. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna take this one to really quick, and then the person says, during your quiet time, do you feel bad about being separated? Wow.
Never, ever, ever, ever.
Yes.
So I will tell you why. Please just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. There's someone at my door. Come in, come in, come in, come in. Okay. Do I feel maybe 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 like the first 1.5 years, or maybe even 2 years? I could say 2 years. The first 2 years, I felt, yeah, I had those moments. I'll be like, God, I did not know that the 20% that this man was putting in was something. Oh, like I had that moment where I'll be like, hey God, if I could just get a break right now, like if I could just go back to where I was suffering, but yes, I'll just, but yeah, nah. That was all the time you're trying to build who you want to be. And
Trying to show.
yes, you're trying to figure yourself out. That's all those times. You get to a point now. If I ever think about my ex marriage, the only thing I say is thank God. Like, oh my God, I could just imagine if that never happened. Like, I would be in praise. I'll be thanking God. I'll be worshiping. Like, I can just start singing. I'll just be in joy because my life had changed. Like, the way my life changed, the lessons I learned, the growth is unbelievable. Like I can't question why it happened, but I can only be thankful. So I think it's always just as I said, it's about like healing. Once you heal, you will not have any reason to go back to your past and dwell in it.
Yes.
It will not
Yes.
be it will become, and that's when you move forward, when you can't dwell in your past. When you're in your past and you're in a place of thanksgiving, it's almost like you're thinking about it and you're in a place of peace, and you're in a place of where they talk about the person and you're smiling, you're laughing, and you are wishing them good. That's where God bless you. That's the only thing. But when they call the person and you just hungry, you just want to
And
fight.
then you're still healing.
You're just like, so I feel like, those time will come, and that's how you know that you need to heal. Everyone goes through healing in different ways. There's some relationships that you girlfriends, that you have that are friends, and you guys break up and it pain you. Like I feel like
Mhm,
friendship
mhm.
relationship is, if I don't think, no, marriage is not as bad as friendship relationship. Friendship relationship, I used to be very careful about friendship because friendship is strong. Like it's for me because I hold friendship in such a dear place. Like I'm easy to love someone, and when I love someone, I love with my whole being. I love from my stomach, my chest, from every part of me. So that friendship break is too much. So like that kind of feeling when you're going through it is painful. So you would react, and when you think about it, you'll be in it, but it all needs healing. Once you heal from it, once you accept it, you have to accept where you are, you have to accept yourself, you have to accept your journey, you have to accept that it has happened and you need to move on from it. And you're only going to learn when you sit down and pick out the lessons instead of picking out the pains. You would find it that you don't necessarily need to sit down somewhere and start thinking and start feeling sad for yourself.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Wow, 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 wow. I'm sure, like, there's been a lot of juices in the house. Yes. With my wonderful, amazing lady right here. Oh, my goodness. All right. We're not gonna take much of your time. We're gonna be closing up very soon.
Thank you.
So you won't be like, oh, Nini's taking Nini. Nini just want me to keep talking, talking, talking. All right. So really quick, I'm just like we just have like few questions more, and then we're just gonna round up shortly. So the question that I have for you now is that I know, like, you ran for like you did a competition about
Favorite
I
chef.
yes, yeah, the kitchen chef. So I want to ask you, so like, can you share those feelings? Because I know, like, I was one of those people that voted, and I felt so sad, about what happened. So, but how you overcame that, I'm interested in knowing.
More. I think so. I took it like before I was going to enter the competition, I had only one thing in mind. I was gonna win. I wasn't thinking, oh, I'll doubt it. I didn't know what I was going into, clearly, but I also knew that if I put my all in it, I would win or I would learn. But when the competition ended and I came up as second in my group, I felt I felt I had this denial, which is normal for everybody. I was like, I had a campaign team. So with my campaign team, everybody was watching from WhatsApp. People were me self. I was like, God, oh God, my chest. I cannot even breathe anymore. What is this? So all of that was happening. We were calling everybody, vote this one, that one, that one. And then when the time went out and I didn't enter the first place, I went back to the Facebook, the WhatsApp group, and I left a message right away. Like, I knew that I did not want to dwell in the pain. I knew that I wanted to move on. I left about three different projects to the side, and I decided that I wanted to do that competition. And when I started, I thought, oh, I'll just be doing the projects as I go. But then I realized that no, this competition is going to take me to where I've never been before, because they had like I was going through workshops that was teaching me how to do things that I've never done in the food industry before. So I was
Hmm.
like, this is plenty, oh. Like, okay. So I had to like literally like like I committed my 20 hours to it for the whole 3 months. Like, it was just the back to back to back. Once we close our eyes, we open it. People in Nigeria, people in the UK, people in US, people in the yeah, Jesus, everywhere, everywhere. So I feel like after left that message, and I was like, you know what, guys, I am so grateful that you guys are like, I just for me, this is how I see things. I face a lot of challenges. As a business owner, I face a lot of challenges, a lot that like I can't even tell people half of the things I face, because I feel that some people might feel terrified and run away. Um, but I always think about the positive side of everything. I always think about what would I have wanted. Remember when I said, from my previous marriage, when I was healing and I could not afford the therapy, the first thing I started doing was journaling and then changing my thoughts to positive thoughts. So now, when I didn't win, the only thing that came to my mind is, if I had won, what would I have done?
Hmm.
Which was, I was going to come out. I was going to say, thank you so much, guys. We've won. Oh my God. My mind is blown. All of that. Right? So now I had to come with that same energy, because that's what I want. That's the only thing that can keep me. Your mind, you have to fake it. Me, oh, I fake my mind. If I want something, I will fake it for myself. So that means that I want to heal from the trauma and the pain that I felt like I went through during the whole process and all the hard work, and I want to heal from it. I've learned to heal faster than dwelling in it and saying things like, I think I only took one day off before I go back into it. Like, the next week, I was back into coaching. I was back into it, was as if nothing ever happened the next week. And I
Hmm.
know that if it was me few years ago, I would have struggled for months. I would have sat down for a whole month, still talking about it, still doing about my pain, still saying, "Oh God, you know that." I would still shall be dragging the situation, especially maybe with friends. Like, I just knew that what would I always say something. I always say, what would Jesus do in this situation? Jesus will not be sad. He will not be crying. He will not be.
You are very hilarious, I must tell you.
So yeah, focus. Well, let's just do what Jesus will do. Like 2 days after I came out, I said on this, I had a live video on Instagram. I dropped a video and I was just like, thank you to everybody. Just ended that chapter there because I knew that if I did not, and I did not, and it was hard, sis. Nini, it was the hardest thing. I'm not even talking about it, making it feel like, oh, everything was just easy and it was hard. It was hard, but I am this kind of person. I do hard things. Like, I'm not the type of person that will sit back and be like, I'll sit in my comfort zone and be sucking up on my pain and be, I'll rather do the very, very hard, difficult thing. And is in those places that you grow and then you get better. And then you find yourself in situations that what people would think you should sink, you will just dust your feet, back, back,
Mhm,
and move
mhm.
on. That was exactly what happened. I felt it, but every time I had to talk about it, what would Jesus do? Yeah, say positive things about it. And and I will not even lie to you, like a lot of amazing things came from that. Like a lot of I gained lots of customers, followers, supporters, like business ideas, business support, growth. Like I learned a lot as a chef. Like I felt like a chef when I was done with that competition. Like it wasn't just about Nigerian food. I explored Nigerian food and decided to create Nigerian food in different ways. And
Amazing.
it did not end there. It's now bringing something new out from my guest kitchen for 2024. Like it's just like I felt comfortable in my own skin, so I dwelled on the good feelings and just kind of
Mhm.
just dropped the ones that, that bad feeling of like not winning the money and like not winning and being on the magazine and having to go to New York and all those things looked small and they looked vague when I sat down. And then sometimes I will even write it. Sometimes I remember the day that it was announced and I did not move to the next round. That particular day in the morning, I woke up and I journaled and I wrote on my journal, my favorite journal. I was like, today's gonna be an amazing day. We're gonna move to the next level. All the sweet things that I would say, and it did not happen. And then 2 days after, I came back to that journal and write the pains that I felt. So I felt like, we're all human beings and we go through these things, right? And nothing is going to stop life from happening, but if it happens, is how you react to it, is how you carry yourself through that process, and how you accept and move on is what really matters. Yeah, that was it.
That's a very, very important point, I'll tell you. How you accept it, how you take a look at it, and how you move past that is what makes the difference,
Mhm,
because there's always going to be the fit. You are not going to win all the time, but
mhm,
the ability to understand that it's okay, this moment it's okay, because another time is going to come, and
mhm.
then you won't even put as much effort like you did
I'm
now,
telling you,
and everything
work
is
out.
just gonna work
Mhm,
out for you. And the way you were sharing that, it just reminded me of, like, during the election as well. And I was looking, I was so like, I was so like, let's go, that energy, that drive, everything was there, like, the first black, like a lady for the matter. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna break Canadian, like some, like,
I know, I
the
know.
energy was there. And then at the end of the day, like, it's okay. And I love the way you handled that. And then, the way you dealt with it, and you overcame, and you didn't, as in, like, stay there for like a long period.
Mhm.
I admired that a lot. I admire that a lot. That's good. Wow, wow, wow. So I'm sure, like, when the next one is coming up now, you're gonna give it another try.
I don't know if it's going to be because we have the cooking show, we have the immigrant single parenthood, have so many things that is just like if another one is coming up, it has to be a Canadian competition. I don't want it to be in the US anymore. Because at the end of the day, it was about supporting the Beard Foundation, which is an organization that supports black communities in the US to provide food for them. Um, if I'm gonna do anything like that again, I would want it to be a Canadian owned competition. That way I feel like we were able to generate almost $4,000, 4,000 US dollars. Like every
Wow.
one of us that, like, from here in this, like, just, from like the $10, $20, 4,000 plus. And I was like, this is huge. I would rather prefer it in my own community, like in my own country. Like, let it be here, in Canada. And then that way I would feel that, okay, I mean, yes, it's done for humanity, but I don't think I want to do it for US, because at the end of the day, US is not gonna like let their money leave US, if you look at it.
I
So
got you.
so, so when
Actually,
you
it's
look
true.
at it,
Oh, you
it's
got that
true.
right. It
Literally,
is true.
it's
If you go
true.
there alone, you understand. It
You
is true.
it's true. They will not play with their, they will not let, they want it inside their economy. They won't let it go outside the economy. They will make you bring money into their economy, but not take it out. Take 25,000 US dollars out of US. And put it where. So
I
I
know.
would really like it if anyone is to come up, and it comes up in Canada for sure. I would definitely go in for it again. It was a fun
Wow.
experience. The workshops were amazing. I learned so much. I could not have paid for that. Yeah, the experience, the growth, the mindset change, everything was different. It made me realize that Nigerian food can be anything. Like, Nigerian food can be created in different ways. Like, there's, like, people talk about fusion, but I didn't really understand fusion as much as when I had to incorporate it into, like, the competition. That's when I realized that, shit, this thing is real and it can actually work, and it does not take a lot of time. And you know how you can think then your food only takes time. You don't want to come and add another one on top of it. Like,
Uh-huh.
as a cook, as a chef, that's the mentality that, please, let's just stick to what. But it doesn't actually take a lot of time. It takes less of the time. It just takes creativity. That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. So, um, I really learned a lot from it, and I do not even take that opportunity for granted. It was something that I appreciate that I took that step this year.
Wow, 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 wow. And then we over here, we are very, very proud of you. Very,
Oh,
very proud of you.
thank
The
you.
fact that, like, you were able to, like, just do something and just put us out there, I
Oh,
think is amazing. It is very, very
it
amazing.
is. It
So I
is.
want to say thank you very, very much for that. Thank you. Thank you for trying. All right. So this is gonna be coming to an end for our show because I know we've been here, and then I'll bet you, I'll tell you something. This is gonna be one of the longest interview that we've.
That's good. I hear that a lot. I even hear some people say, "Please, can you come back?" So I see. I agree with you. I agree
Yeah,
with
because
you.
like you see, when one thing is being said, and then the fact that, like, is gonna just touch someone's life. Like, I just saw one comment right now that I'm just gonna quickly read out to you. So it's just, the person is just saying every point mentioned are really impactful, making every point useful to myself. At the speaker, thank you for giving us such an okay, okay. All right. So, like, you are touching lives with what you're saying, and that's the most beautiful thing, and
Mhm.
that's the focus and the goal of the show. So I guess that's why we're like, okay, we're not tired, like, we're still here.
Please, I'm tired. You should let me go.
Oh my goodness. All right, so it's been a very, very wonderful time with you. I really, really appreciate, even though I didn't really touch on my question, but, like, you swept
Oh,
my feet off all the things that you've talked about. so
I'm glad.
so
I'm glad.
so I will reserve my other questions. I will reserve it, don't worry.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, I'm sure that we're gonna have you again on the show. I'm sure about that. So hopefully when we'll call you another time, you're gonna answer us like
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
yes, beautiful.
Anytime. Anytime. I'm always here.
Beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful. So, and then the link for those of you who were not here earlier on, or for those of you who have been here since the beginning of the show, I want to say a very big thank you to you. So, we're gonna share the link with you guys and like how you can get more information and how you can connect with her. And she's doing this, personally, so like you can learn one or two things from her as well. So I'll share the link. So on our YouTube page, you can go there and then you can follow her, and you can watch more of the video on YouTube. I believe they're on YouTube as well, right?
Yes.
So and then you can follow, and yeah, let's just live life to the fullest. Like we shouldn't be limited, especially
Mhm.
like being a woman who is very passionate. Like I feel that like we shouldn't be limitless. Like we should live a life of abundance. We should live a life because there's so many women out there who are capable of doing something for themselves, who are capable of doing beyond and extraordinary things, but one way or the other something else is just holding them back. But I'm glad that we are able to touch basics tonight. And then I pray that this is just gonna touch their life and change their perspective, in a very positive way. So thank you so much, so much, so much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So now the last thing I want to ask you, any word for my people, any word that you want to tell them to round up the show, and any word for the speaker show as well.
Well,
Let's go.
I'll be very short. For me, it's take care of yourself. As little as that. Like, choose yourself first. Do not deprive yourself of your dreams, and just go for it. I went for an event a couple days ago, and one of the speakers said, "If you ask me for money, I might not be able to give you, but if I give you advice, that's twice more than money."
Mm.
And I was like, damn. I was like, whoa, like, because you can get an advice, and that advice hits you in a place that there's no amount of money that you can get that can change things. So I want you to live this life just caring more about yourself, loving yourself, showing yourself all the best that you would give to other people. Whatever it is that you give to other people out there, choose yourself first. Choose you. Like in any point, in any situation, in whatever it is, even when it comes to your children, choose you first. Because when your cup is full, it would be
Yes.
easy for you to give to everyone around you. That's it.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you so much. So once again, I'm gonna say a very big thank you to you for taking your time to be here with us.
Oh,
Thank you
you're
very,
welcome.
very much. I
You're
appreciate it a
welcome.
lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Your show is amazing. I mean, this is a lot. This is great. Lives have been changed. So that's the most important thing. Keep doing what you're doing. God will continue to support you and grant you the strength to keep moving.
Amen. Amen. And then before we go, really quick, we're gonna go now. Before we go, I just want us to together, let's just give like a 30-second silence for my very beautiful friend that that passed away and then that was just buried today. Like it's saddened, but like that's what we do. When you have passion for what you do, you still have to still give it your best. You still have to still go for it. It's
Mm.
been very stressful, very heartbreaking, but we're still here standing strong. So I just want us to quickly give like a 30-second silence, just to honor. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much. Yes. And then for everyone, don't forget to always follow us on the speaker show. Tune in every time. Always click on the notification button on YouTube so you can get more words that will inspire you all the time. So always tune in, follow us, and then, through other people's story, your life is going to take a different turn in a positive way. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, my beautiful guests. Thank you so much. And I'm going to say a very, very good night to everyone. And I will see you next week, Friday, on the speaker show again. I remain your one and only host, Nini Olafatai. Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.